On this week's edition of the Jesters Court, we get you set for the biggest week of the season, but not before we look back at a massive 3-point Saturday night that was far from a sure thing. Coach Farrell will discuss that win and some key plays in that victory. Plus, Keenan Armbrust will teach you young Jesters one-on-one defending, and Lucas Curry will be joking around. With just 4 matches left, time is running out on the season, but there's plenty of time for an all-new Jesters Court next. We are headed into the home stretch of the regular season from our home at Walk-Ons on Poydras Street, home to plenty of TVs and good food for all of your sports viewing. And we welcome you inside for the latest edition of the Jesters Court. This is Kenny Farrell, the head coach of the Jesters, and I'm your host, Paul Boron. And Coach, one of your matches washed down last week because of Tropical Storm Cindy. So you had the match against Memphis, and all your attention went to that. You knew you had to get a win. You got a win. But it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy because, and I know this going into every game, including Birmingham and Memphis that lie at the bottom of the table, they are not easy games. They compete, they've got good players, they may have injuries, but we knew we had to come out and not take it lightly, and it gave us a tough game in Memphis. I think we were ready for it. I do believe we gave up a couple of soft goals that we're reviewing with our team. But to win 3-2 at the end of the day, it was a very exciting game. It was an important victory for us, and we're very happy about it.
Yeah, and both those goals coming off set pieces, which we've talked about before, has been the one bugaboo for this team. So the Storm blew out of town, but things were anything but calm at Pan American Stadium on Saturday. Tropical Storm Cindy had blown through South Louisiana and gave way to a beautiful night at Pan American Stadium. And it was a beautiful start for Memphis. 3rd minute, Lewis Jones with a beautiful bending shot that hits the woodwork. 13 minutes later, Memphis City FC breaks through off of the corner. Damian Austin comes back post and hammers the header home to make it 1-0. Late first half, check out this dribbling and ball control by Mason Walsh, setting up Mason Maurice, but his shot is easily handled. Score stays 1-0 until the 55th minute, when on the free kick, the red-hot John Evans hammers the free kick through the Memphis wall for the equalizer. 6 minutes later, off the throw-in, the ball finds its way to Chase Rushing. A week ago, he was robbed in the closing seconds against Memphis, but not denied this week, as he heads it home to give New Orleans a 2-1 lead. But Memphis levels things in the 72nd minute, again off a corner kick, and this time it's Andrew Forrest coming right up the middle and burying the header to make it 2-2. 84th minute, off of a corner kick of their own, Adam Torres settles and drops it into the box to Evans. He collects it and fires it into the back of the net, and it's 3-2 Jesters. 3 minutes later, Memphis appears to tie it again off of the free kick, but the referee was still dealing with the New Orleans wall, so the goal is disallowed, and the Jesters escape with 3 points.
It's a tight run between 3 of us at the moment, Nashville, Chattanooga and ourselves, and we had to win tonight to put Memphis out of the picture, otherwise they would have been level on points with us and then we'd have made it a difficult run in. But tonight we got the job done after a really slow start, so yeah, very happy.
First goal, the free kick, you had been bending the ball around the wall, so what was different on this one that you just kind of took a rocket?
I was a little close, it was right on the edge of the box. If I'm honest, I thought the foul was actually inside the box. But it was too close to get up and over the wall, and I noticed the keeper had covered his right side, so our left side. So I just blasted it straight past him. He had no chance.
And then your other goal?
As I say, the season I'm having at the moment, I just seem to be in the right place at the right time. The ball, I think it was their defender, got a head on it, and it fell to me in the box, and I blasted it in again.
Last week was pretty embarrassing to miss in front of net like that, and I really hope I wasn't going to do it again. So I was fortunate to get another great cross from, I think it was a throw-in this time, but it's still another great cross, and it landed right to me. It was an easy tap-in, to be honest with you. We did need a win. 3 points was very important to us, and at the time it put us up by 1 goal, which I think gave us a little bit of momentum as well. And then Johnny's been fantastic all season. I think it's his 8th game in a row scoring, and it's just he took the rest with the 3-2 win.
So, Coach, the one advantage of the postponed match is you got 7 days between that last match up in Memphis and the return match back here in New Orleans. You needed the fresh legs because Memphis came out strong, and then you guys had to finish it out.
Yeah, they had not played since last Saturday, and we were meant to play Nashville on Thursday. It got washed out. It did help us legs-wise a little bit, but we do have a very deep squad, and I trust every player that we have off the bench to go in and play and do a good job. So I wasn't overly worried about it, but it did help us, no question. But I think the squad is very deep, and I think we can handle those situations.
And we're going to talk about your depth as we look forward to this weekend, which is just an unreal slate right now. Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Now, you've got an excellent keeper this year in Chad Collins, but one of your former keepers is Andrew Tarbell. We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week. 2 weeks ago, he makes his first appearance with the Earthquakes in the U.S. Open Cup, gets the clean sheet against San Francisco. He's also playing a little bit with Reno, the USL team for the Quakes. Why don't you just talk about his professional development in this last year and how the news from yesterday with Dominic Kinnear being let go, will that affect his development in any way?
Yeah, it may. When the coach changes, every player looks around and says, okay, what's my future? And they kind of adjust themselves because they've got used to what is expected from them from the coach. Kinnear was very kind to Andrew Tarbell, in a way, by the way. He had a national team goalkeeper, and he still selected what he considered simply the best player in the draft. So Andrew had to sit on the bench for a year and a half, and got in that cup game and showed his talent. But on his developmental side, he was 16 years old when I first put him in to the Jesters team, and as I say, our dedication to New Orleans is important to understand that I will take risks and put players in at a young age, and I think he will tell you, I think Andrew will tell you that some of those games against Laredo Heat, El Paso Patriots, I can go over Austin Aztecs. Some of those games in those days that he played and really prepared him, that's before he even stepped on a college field.
Right.
And then, of course, he went to the Final Four, he went to the final in NCAA, and was brilliant and got drafted, and I think we were a significant part of that. But I'm delighted for him. Now, going forward, new coach comes in, and he's got to figure out who his players are. And he'll probably take a month or two to look at everybody and decide who's going to be his guy. And but I think Andrew's going to be safe in Major League Soccer one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as Andrew can attest, a goalkeeper is only as good as the back line in front of him. And we've got a good one that's a key member of the line that will be delivering this week's training tip. But up next, we delve a little deeper into Saturday's win over Memphis in our Coach's Breakdown. This edition of the Jester's Court is presented by Heineken. Open your world. By Rockin' Bowl. Also by Design the Planet. Dream, brand, evolve. And by Walk-Ons. Everyone needs a little playing time.
I wasn't born in America, and arriving here wasn't easy for me. They didn't even say my name right. I thought I'd never fit in. But over time, I gained their respect, and that respect turned into admiration. Admiration into love. And the world better be ready, 'cause I'm an American now. My name is soccer.
We are back at Walk-Ons, but we're going to shift our attention back to Pan American Stadium in Saturday's match. It is our Coach's Breakdown presented by Heineken, and we're going to start with a play that didn't result in a goal. But how about this individual skill by Mason Walsh and what he does? It's just not crazy dribbling around. It's with a purpose.
Yeah. Well, what had happened is we were struggling in midfield early in the game, and I pushed him in there to get him on the ball more. He was a little frustrated with me that I took him off the line. In fact, he ends up in the line here. But what he does, I wanted him to run at players and create things and make things happen and get on the ball more. One of Mason's abilities that not a lot of people have, similar to Ryan Giggs actually, is to be able to take people in, draw them in. Look at 4 players around him right now. He has taken 5 players out of the game, and look at the space. Now, the shot was pretty much central, but if Mason Maurice had got one of the corners, it might have been a goal. But look how many players that Mason Walsh took out of the game. The thing is, I've always told him, that skill is unique, incredible. Not a lot of people have what he can do. But there's got to be an end product. A lot of times, people will go in that situation and they will do those things. At the end of the day, the third, the fourth player that they take on pips the ball off them. And then it's not worth it. All the dribble's not worth it. There's got to be an end product, and you saw it there. And that's his capability. He can play at a higher level, and with that kind of skill, not a lot of people have it.
Skill and vision, and it really was. You could hear the oohs and ahs from the crowd as he worked his way down the side.
It was an incredible piece of skill.
Yeah, it really, really was.
It was Ryan Giggs-esque.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Well, our second coach's breakdown actually does result in a goal, and we talk about on corner kicks, marking, attacking the post, but sometimes this is evidence of almost a secondary attack, what happens off the corner kick.
Well, yeah, so we've taken out the goalkeeper, we've knocked it back in. What we had said at halftime was we were too slow in delivering the ball back into the box. So Adam Torres had come on, who's been a captain for us for a long time, and he looks at putting the ball straight back in. What happens is, because it went in early, they were not ready to defend it. So they had not set to defend, and of course we have the greatest goal scorer in the league ready to slip it away, which we would expect. But I got to give great credit to Adam Torres for not waiting, put it in there before they could set to defend and get in good defensive position where they could clear it. And it's stuff people don't see, but I see as a coach. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, a lot of times we look for the perfect pass. Sometimes you just need to put it in an area very quickly, and we have very good front players that can make things happen, and we need to get them in the positions more often.
Well, we love goals on this show, but we also love our back line, and they have been tremendous all year long. And one of the guys that's been a part of that is newcomer Keenan Armbrust. He is the subject of this week's training tip presented by Rock and Bowl and Ye Olde College Inn. And he's going to teach you young jesters the best way to attack your opposition in 1v1 defending.
Hey, my name is Keenan Armbrust. This is my first year with the Jesters, and we're out here coaching today. I play left back, so we're having them go through a bit of defending right now and just teaching them like one-on-one defending. I think one really critical mistake is the way you approach a attacker when he's coming at you with the ball. Typically you want to set up to where you're pushing them out towards the sideline or away from the goal, but a lot of players will square up with the attacker, and that gives the attacker more options to play around them or to get a pass off. Instead of immediately closing the attacker down, the defenders will kind of like be timid and not step to them right away. It's a mistake I make often, so I know I get quite a bit of flack for it. So it's just something you want to focus on, is immediately closing down the attacker when they have the ball and forcing them to either make a quick decision or force a mistake out of them. So typically when you're going to shut down a defender, you're going to want to step and have a lead foot that is going to initiate like what direction you want to push them. So say I'm going to step and lead with my right foot in a defending position. I want to get low and I want my lead foot to like be pushing them a certain way and have my back foot ready in case they try to push the ball past me. I mean, most of these guys seem to do it fairly well, but a big mistake is if somebody squares up, like see here, he's trying to force him out to the right side. He does well with his back foot to win it. And that could have been a foul, but say one big tip for defenders in a 1v1 setting is immediately establishing which way you want to push the attacker. That way everybody else who is recovering behind you or anybody else who is trying to support you defensively knows which way you're trying to exert the pressure. Defending isn't always the most exciting part of the game. It is very crucial. I know we're yet to lose to anybody this year, and that's partially because our attackers are great at scoring, but it also comes down to our defenders and our goalkeeping and keeping teams out of the game. So hopefully we can finish off the season undefeated and see what we can do in playoffs.
Thanks, Keenan, for the great defensive tips this week. And up next, Coach goes 1v1 with you, the viewers, next here on CST.
New Orleans Jesters soccer is back for the 2017 season, and now is the time to be a part of the action. Cheer on your Jesters down the home stretch of the season as they square off with their Southeast Conference rivals. Single game tickets are just $10 and $5 for kids 14 and under. Discounted group tickets are available as well. Go to nolajesters.com or call 504-312-3979.
As we welcome you back to the Jesters Court, you're looking at video of some of the summer soccer instruction your organization is running throughout New Orleans. Kind of talk about what is going on right now as we're in the heat of summer.
Well, we're in the camp season, and what they do is they get to meet, top class players and work with them. We've sporadically we have them the camps all over the city, and even on the North Shore. It's a great opportunity. One of the focuses of ours is to stay very, very involved at the grassroots level, at the community level. And as we move forward, we do a lot of stuff that people don't actually know we do, but it's very, very it's been very, very good for us. We feel good about it, and it's also been good for the organization as far as people know we're invested in the city. And as we move forward, we're going to do more and more of that stuff.
And you can learn more about those camps by going to NOLAJesters.com, and you can register there as well. It's time for Ask the Coach, and we've got a great round of questions, I can tell already, including a special guest is in line over there. We'll get to him in a moment, but first, our first question.
Hi, Coach. Can you explain the developmental progression of your academy players, hopefully up to the NPSL team?
Yeah, well, listen, thanks, John, and I know you've been with me from the start of the Jesters, and when we created this vision and this pathway, my concern was about Louisiana players not making it. I know we've had some, they've come through us, Andrew and Patrick, after they came out of their youth teams and stuff, and there's more players that need opportunity. So when we got into this with the recreation, an incredible recreational department, Carrollton Boosters Soccer, amazing volunteers we partnered with. It started to develop some players that could come into our academy. We train them very young. Our philosophy is very clear about how we want to develop individual players within the team environment. So John's been with me from the start 5 or 6 years ago. They're now hitting U16. I want his best players to start going into the developmental team that we play in the local league. We call it the reserves. They play every Sunday. So the best players go in there, start training with some men. If they make that through, the best players of those make that through, they come into the bottom end of the NPSL team before they're 18 years old. They start to work their way through. So this pathway and vision is being built, and I've been dedicated to it. And then when they hit if you can play in the NPSL team, there's not one Division I NCAA team you cannot play with. So we're getting there piece by piece.
And we've got some of your academy guys with us as well, and one of them has a question right now.
What do you think of the use of video assistant referee in the Confederations Cup and soon being implemented in the MLS?
I'm a traditionalist, and I think, don't take this the wrong way, referees, but I think the more power they have, the worse it gets. You can't fight with video technology. I do want to see the game flow. If that starts dragging out like everything else and we start reviewing everything, that's what worries me. I know that's not there now, but it has the potential to be there. So, in answer to your question, let's just look at penalty decisions, which are very critical moments in games, and whether it crossed the line or did not cross the line, which is a very critical moment in a game, can change a game. Other than that, keep the game flowing.
We got a couple more academy guys with questions, so let's get to another one of those.
Why is it that youth players burn out and don't continue to pursue soccer once they reach the ages of 17 and 18?
The answer is that a lot of people are pushed way too hard. Parents think they're missing something. They're asked when they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to do this, do that, do the other. They're doing it, they're going along with it. They get tired. Developmental process, the measure of success is how many trophies have we won? Have we traveled to Dallas or Atlanta or Florida to win a tournament? I can see all-star teams come through Louisiana all the time. Maybe one or two might make our team. But within the system that we're creating, I would hope more than that does. But even if it's only 2 out of the system that we're creating, it's 2 out of how many players?
Right.
I mean, it's a great question, because I truly believe that the United States is missing the opportunity to be a world-class team because of the way youth soccer is run. And I will tell you, except for Pulisic, who's got potential to be a world-class player, who else is world-class? Who has been with the amount of players that we have? We've got to change the youth system. It's going to be very hard to break. We're not going to bend. We're going to keep doing what we do. But it's a great question, and it needs to be reviewed at higher levels. And I think a lot of education of parents of how to be successful is very important.
We've got one more question from one of our young players.
Why do you think South American teams are more competitive with European teams while Mexico and USA are still struggling?
Yeah, I don't know that they're struggling relative to where they're coming from. I mean, Mexico is still a world power. I mean, they're still up there. Nobody, anybody plays away to them. It doesn't matter if it's the best team in the world is going to get a game. I know New Zealand and Anthony Hudson did a great job against them in the CONCACAF, but I don't think they're. I think struggling is the word. Are they behind? Yes. You look at I mean, when you grow up in Brazil or Argentina or Chile or any of those European countries, the first thing you touch is a football. It becomes part of your religion. It becomes part of what you live for on the weekend, and that culture's still there, and it's been around for 100 years. So in the United States, that's not been around for 100 years. And there is many other distractions. There's more affluent society, and it's a very big country to try and find the best talent that you have. So I think they've got their, problems they have to deal with. But I wouldn't say they're struggling. I think they're getting better all the time.
All right, we got time for one last question, and this is a very special guest.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on a great season so far. Just a quick question. 3 big games coming up in 5 days over the weekend, a lot of miles. How are you going to manage to keep the guys fresh?
All right, well, he didn't say who he was, but his son has been a key part of your team this year in John Evans, and that is his father. We're glad he's with us. But what about that? How are you going to keep them fresh?
It's getting them to calm down and learn how to not spend energy where they don't need to spend it. It is a part of the league. We've got 3 games in 5 days. 2 of them on the road, probably at least a 1,500-mile trip to play 2 games and then come back and play on Monday night. So it's really an education of the players. They come in and they want to play and they want to train and they want to get out there, and sometimes you got to say, slow down a minute. You got to take some rest. You got to eat correctly. You got to learn how to not burn energy where it's not necessary to burn it. And you got to be ready to play each game. Now look, it's an uphill battle. We'll play Georgia on Thursday and we'll travel to Atlanta for Saturday. They'll be tired. And then we got to come home and play on Monday. So it's basically rotating the players, making sure they're eating correctly, making sure they're sleeping properly, and they're in a good environment that way, and basically educating them about what the challenge is ahead. Because sometimes they go on the pitch like they did against Memphis, when we were away, like 10 days, 4 games, massive road trips, and they were dead in the game we should have won and we tied. So it's educating them. They've had that experience. I think they're better prepared now, having gone through that, to understand what's ahead of us this weekend.
It is a big weekend and a big stretch, and of course, every point counts. Well, when we return to the Jesters Court, we will joke around with one of the Jesters' young attacking players and find out why the only numbers he likes are goal totals and wins. That's when the Jesters Court comes back.
You got to prove yourself to make it in America. It doesn't matter where you came from. I heard it I'd never make it, but I proved them wrong.
My name? You can call me Soccer.
We welcome you back to Walk-Ons, our host and also the presenting sponsor of the week ahead, and we look ahead to this busy week for the Jesters. And it starts Thursday with a trip to the Georgia Revolution, and then on Saturday, a matchup against the Silverbacks in Atlanta. But now, next Monday, we have to make up that game against Inter Nashville. 3 matches in 5 days. Every point matters, Coach. You can't take a match off.
Yeah.
So how are you going to manage the roster, substitutions, things like that?
Yeah, we'll make rotation. There's no question. The same players can't get through 3 games in 5 days. But having said that, we have blooded some players during the season, some young players, and brought in some other players that have done well in games, and we have to do that.
Quick answer: how many points do you need in these 3 matches, do you think? I know you want 9.
I want 9. I won't be happy if we get less than 7. We got to at least tie. I beat Atlanta. I want to beat Georgia. I want to beat Nashville.
There you go. Very good. Well, one key guy on this stretch will be one of your newcomers, attacking young star in Lucas Curry. This week he is joking around, and you're going to love his answer on what he would have to take with him on a deserted island.
Hey, I'm Lucas. I'm from Brazil. I play as forward and attacking midfield, and this is my first years with the Jesters. I don't know. I think I will have a my family. If I can have my family, I will bring my family because they are part of me. They build me. They make my mind. They help me to grow up, and I think that is all I have. I have to have with me because they are my base. For me, the best player for all the times, I think, is Ronaldinho Gaúcho because he's got a lot of skills. He was fast, and he made a lot of things with the ball that he can do that because he's amazing. He can pass the ball without seeing. He can dribble the other players. He can skip the defenders with a facility that so easy, and the other players can do that. So for me, he's the best player from all the times. The worst subject was math. I'm not good with numbers, and the best subject was biology. I like biology. It's not easy, but I like it. I prefer the math than numbers, and I hate physics as well. all the things that include numbers, it's not my good thing. Yes, when I got here in America, my first year in school, I'm going to school in Kentucky, in Campbellsville, and they start to call me Dima because there is an Argentinian player, Di Maria, and they told me that I look like Di Maria, so it includes the celebrity question as well because they think I look like Di Maria. I don't think so because Di Maria is not the best looking, but I think it's okay. He's a good player. Chicken parmigiana. I love pasta as well. There are a lot of foods that I like, and I don't have one. I like pizza as well. A lot of foods. I can't remember all the foods because it's too much. It's a lot. This is impossible. I don't have another one.
Anything else?
No,
You're not good at anything else?
No, I don't. Yes, I'm thinking I'm a good person, you know. I try to build my friendships, my relationships, and I think I'm good on this. And I'm trying to do this when I can. Yeah, as soon as I got here in US, I was willing to go to California and Florida because I always heard about these places, but I have never been in one of them. So I went to Florida last year when we went to play the nationals, the Christian nationals with my school, and was really good. I went to Orlando. I really like it. I couldn't enjoy very much because I was committed with the games, but it was a really good trip, and I hope I can get back to Orlando.
Thanks, Lucas, for that good stuff, and plenty of good stuff next week, where instead of our normal Monday taping here at Walk-Ons, we will be at Pan Am for a match against Nashville. So we're going to shake things up a bit next week, but here is when you can catch the Jesters Court, where we will certainly have a better idea of the playoff picture and look ahead to our final match of the year at home against Birmingham. Those shows available on Thursday, as is this week in the NPSL, and we'll get a look at all of the conference races in our league. That is available on YouTube and on NPSL.com. So I know I say this a lot, Coach, but there is no doubt this week this may be the most critical stretch of the season. We'll see how things turn out. 2 road matches through Georgia, and we're back here in New Orleans Monday night. We hope you'll join us at Pan American Stadium for a huge showdown against Air Nashville FC next Monday night. For Kenny Farrell, Paul Boron saying so long from Walk-Ons.